Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel on this dreary February morning. But if you look up here, we're actually on the home straight to the end of February, which means spring should be round the corner. More importantly, it's this time of year onwards that your common garden birds start scouting out potential nesting sites for the upcoming season. So this year, I've decided I'm going to help them out by making some bird boxes. So I'm going to start with my friend and your friend, the lovely little robin. So I'm going to get some materials and some timber that I stole from work, go down the shed, make a box for the robins. Yeah. Right, that's my timbering. So you might find, if you want to do this, an abundance of information out there on the internet and indeed YouTube. But be careful where you get your guides from and your information, especially YouTube, because you could inadvertently be following a guide to make a bird box for American birds, which differ in size to the birds here in the UK. So you might be like the American robin and the blue tit, which they call the bluebird. They are slightly different in size to the birds here in the UK, so you might inadvertently be making a box that isn't suitable for your garden birds here in the UK. Bear that in mind. So probably the best thing to do is look in the description. I'll leave the links to either the R.S.P.B website or the British Trust of Ornithology, which they have detailed plans to make bird boxes for the garden birds here in the UK. So follow their instructions rather than ones that you might find on the internet. Now, once you're there at either the R.S.P.B site or the B.T.O, the British Trust of Ornithology site, you'll find that the main ingredient to make a bird box for robins is a piece of timber, which they recommend 150mm wide. Now, unfortunately, I don't have timber 150mm wide. Now, disclaimer, I didn't actually steal this timber from work. If you're a regular viewer and you're subscribed to my channel, you'll know that I work with timber, and there is an abundance of timber at work which is surplus to requirements, so I obtained some and brought it home. If you're not subscribed to the channel, then go down there, subscribe. It's fun. Right, okay, so I have 125mm wide timber, which if I just kind of decide differently to the way it's going to be like screwed or nailed together, I can come up with the same finished product. Now this is what they call PSE, which stands for plain straight edge timber. I think it's spruce and it's completely untreated, which is the important thing, because you don't want to use treated timber really, because treated timber can have chemicals that have pesticides in, which are not good for anyone. So I'm using PSE, plain untreated timber, to make my robin's box. So what I've got to do now is get the measurements to make the two sides, which is obviously slanted, do the back, do the base, get it all cut up, and then we'll start putting it together. I'm gonna have to go outside and do that because I don't want sawdust in my shed. Now the first piece of timber to be cut is going to be the back of the box, which is going to be 300mm long. So it's going to be about 50mm longer than the rest of the box, which I'll explain in a bit. Now you don't have to use power tools to do this bit, but if you have power tools to hand, then use them because it makes sense. Next to be cut are the sides of the box, which are going to form part of the roof. So they need to be slanted so rainwater doesn't sit on the roof. So I'm going to cut one side of the side at 250mm and the other side at 225mm. Times 2 obviously for both sides. Now for the front of the box, which needs to be the full length of the back and the two sides combined. So cut it at that. With these three main components now cut, I'm just going to give them a smooth off with a mouse sander to take away the sawn edges. Just start the rain. Right, okay, so I have my 4 pieces. That's 4, not 6. I'll explain why. So I've done my two sides, and I've done the front, and I've done the back. Now, I haven't done the base purely because what I'm going to do is put it together and show you. So originally, if you went by the R.S.P.B or the British Trust of Ornithology plans, then this timber should be 150 wide, but this is only 120 wide. So because of that, in their instructions, they would say to put the sides like this. So on top of the back like this. Now this would make, if I get the other side, this would make a very narrow and probably unusable box for the robins. So what I'm going to have to do is put the two sides on the side of the back, like so. like so, which makes it a bigger box. Now the front will go on like so, and this is why I haven't cut the base, because you can cut the base. It says on the instructions you can pre-cut the base, but if you've made one slight little error in your measurements, then your base sits inside at the bottom, so it sits flush. If you've made a mistake, then it's not going to fit, which means you're going to have to trim it down or recut it. I don't want to do that, so what I'm going to do is wait till I've glued and screwed it together, and then I can pop it upright, get a pencil, mark it out, cut it to the right size. And again, I haven't done the lid. Obviously it's not. I haven't done the lid, again, for the same reason. Now the lid, if I hold these back up, the lid should actually sit on top like this. Now because it's not 150, they're not sitting on top of the back, that's going to sit inside. Now it can sit inside, that's not a problem, but I probably would have to silicone seal or CT1 or something around, which I might do. Or I might find some more material which is bigger, so then I can cover the whole of the top like so. But we shall see. So what I'm going to do is find some screws and some glue. You can actually nail it together with like ring shank nails, which are hard to pull apart, but I've got loads of screws, so I might as well glue it and screw it together. Now the back, obviously the back was cut at 300mm, so it's longer than obviously the sides, purely for fixing it wherever you're going to fix it. So I'm going to fix mine, I think, out the front behind the bushes onto trellis. So depending on how you want to fix it is how you want to put your sides on. So you can have it so you've got a bit, if you notice, I'll put it on the side, so you've got room then to be able to screw and fix it at the top and at the bottom, or you can just put it to the bottom so you've got just top fixing. Now that's totally your preference as where it's going. If it's going to go on a wall, I suggest probably doing it like a kind of 50-50, so you can fix it at the top and fix it at the bottom, which gives it so it won't actually move around on the wall or whatever. So I think the best thing to do is probably just give yourself do it half and half like that, so you can get a fixing at the top and the bottom. So right, find some screws, find some glue, get that screwed together, and then we'll move on to the base and the lid. Where's my screws? There is somewhere.
Now each side is going to be screwed to the back with 2 screws, which I'm going to move 30mm from each end. And with the timber being 20mm thick, I'm going to place these at 10mm in. Now you don't have to use wood glue, you could just screw the box together, but if you have wood glue lying around, you may as well use it, as well as the screws. Now to fix the sides to the back, I am using 40mm thin shanked screws, which with the timber being 20mm thick gives me a 20mm bite, which is plenty. Now when I screwed the first side to the back, you can see that it slipped on the glue. So what I've done on the second side is send the screws slightly through so the point is protruding, which then if I firmly press into the back, it holds its position.
Right, okay, that is the 3 sides done. Well, the back and the 2 sides, just making sure there's no glue seeping inside, which there isn't, but there you go, nice and sturdy and strong. That's how it should be. So obviously, like I said, these screws 40mm, but they're very, very, very thin shank screw, so they're not going to really split. This is softwood, so it shouldn't really split anyway, and it hasn't. So I've just put one top, bottom each side, but keeping them, like I said, away from the edges so they don't split or anything. So now I'm going to put the front on, which is just here, which goes on just like so, like this. Now you might be thinking that's a strange front, there's no hole or anything. Well, that's because, if you didn't know, robins, unlike blue tits and great tits and sparrows and stuff, don't like to nest in a cavity where they can't see what they're doing. They like an open fronted box, like so they can see exactly what's going on around them. So the front will literally just be the same, glued and screwed on the front, and then I've got the perfect square to, like I said, sit it down on the desk, draw the base out. So get that one screwed in, and then we'll worry about what we're going to do with the lid. Yeah, pretty much the same process again. I'm actually going to pull the base down, the front down, sorry, so it is completely level with the bottom. Give a little pencil mark so we know exactly where we're going. Same on this side, and then this will obviously all pull it in as well. So currently at the minute it's trying to, obviously with the cupping of the timber, it's trying to pull out, but then I will pull this. I'll do one side, pull it in the other side, and then it should pull itself all together nice and firmly. So now I've got my pencil marks, which I put here, obviously, so I know glue here only. So let's get the glue back out again. Gosh. And then this is where we come around the other side now. You can see where it's been trying to cup, so it's going to be forced in like so.
Done. Beautiful. Now with the four sides screwed together, it's time to bring in the timber to cut your base out, which we trace round, and it isn't square, meaning that if you'd have pre-cut this at the beginning, it probably wouldn't have fitted. So just save yourself the time and wait and trace it out. That way it will fit.
Right, so I've transferred my base marks onto this bit of PSE, which is not actually quite square. So I think that's kind of like slightly skewed, but I don't think the robin is actually going to sit there going, my corners are not 90 degrees in my house. So we're just going to run with it. Now, it's raining outside, plus I want a little bit more precision, so I'm not going to use the circular to cut this out. I'm actually going to use a fine tooth, brand new fine tooth saw, which, you know, should make it perfect. Then it should fit lovely in the bottom, and then we can glue and screw it in. Fingers crossed, one take.
Yeah, okay, I done half of it with a handsaw, then swapped out for the circular saw because I'm lazy.
Right, okay, there it is, the base. Like I said, it's slightly, doesn't matter. Right, moment of truth time though, does it fit the actual box? Now, hopefully it does, and I don't want it loose, I want it tight, so I've got to find the right orientation, which I think, well, that looks good. Does that look good? No, don't. That way around. Ooh, look at that, look. So if I push down like that, oh, that's going to go in there lovely. Don't even think I'm going to get any glue in there. So what I'm going to probably do is just, there it is. Ah, hammer. So give it a little tap. There we go. Look at that. Perfectly flush. So that is now a box with a base. So I'm going to get that screwed up. And then it's just the lid. I'm going to place it. Look at that, absolute perfect fit that is, beautiful. Right, you've just seen me drill 4 holes in the base as well. Purely what that's for is when the lid's on, just in case there is driving rain that comes in, it can drain out and not go mouldy or anything, because that's not good for the little robin at all. Okay, so the only thing left now is the lid, which I've decided I am going to get the lid to fit in between the 2 sides, which I've cut outside with the circular saw, which will now slide in there beautifully to the back. I've also, if you can see, I've cut a 15-degree angle in it. Now, if you haven't got a circular saw, you're going to find this difficult to do with a handsaw, but it can be done. Just persevere. Or it doesn't really matter. It's not relevant to the actual build because it's going to be covered up. So once this slides in, very tight, there. Okay, so that is now somewhere there. So you can see it's pretty much all closed in. What I'm going to do is silicone seal around the 3 edges here, and then probably silicone seal pretty much the whole of the lid, because I have, and again, you don't have to do this, you could just stop with a silicone. I do have a piece of EPDM rubber, which is spare from a roof. So I'm going to cut this to size, and it's going to sit obviously nice and neat, and it's going to sit up to the back like that, and then I'm just going to get some clout nails and clout it on the sides, just so it's nice and waterproof for the robin. So yeah, we'll get that done, and then we'll go and sight it out the front for the little bird.
This is as good a day as any to start the rebuilding of life.
I actually broke the nozzle off the CT1, dropped it on the floor and it kind of snapped. Didn't have a spare one, so that's why I had to put it on with my fingers. But it's done, one waterproof, one solid Robins box. All that's left to do now, take my drill, go out the front, sight where it's going. Come on.
Now the rumour is you need to sight your box either north or east, or a combination of both, which is known as northeast. But this is not necessarily true, because a bird will decide where it wants to make its nest regardless of the orientation you put your box.
Right, as much as robins like the open frontedness of their boxes, they still like their nest to be rather covered in foliage, which I think, with the forsythia just here, the wind comes across from that way, so that'll be protected when the forsythia starts to like leaf up in spring, and also the honeysuckle will cover it from above. Now, robins don't actually nest that far off the floor at all. I've seen robins nest at bases of trees and anything up to around about the 2 metre mark. So I'm going to stick this one up here, which I'm 5'9½", 10. So you can work out exactly how high this is going. So all I'm going to do, one screw through the top onto the trellis here, one screw through the bottom onto the trellis there, and that's Mr. Robins' box up. I'll put my drill down somewhere.
It's alright. Today and not tomorrow. There's no time to borrow. Today, well, something's gotta give. Today, it's a good.
There, done. Now I've just got to wait till spring for the robins.
Tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today.
And there you go, a robins box built out of one single piece of timber, nice and simple. I will obviously keep you updated if they start showing interest in it. If they don't, and they haven't by about mid-March, I might move it further under the bushes, but I will keep you posted. So thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, there is a button down there that says I like this video, so go and press it. Also, whilst you're there, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot. So if you did like this build of the robins box, you're going to love the next one because I'm up in the game. This is going to be a Blue Tits Wi-Fi camera controlled box. I'll see you next one. Goodbye.